Today's project is another bottle in the series of uphaunting the dollar store bottles. I tried to be smart and make the video a lot shorter than what it is, and it turned out to be longer. Anyways, this is the final result. Sit back and enjoy the video. Thanks for coming. Greeting, denizens of the internet, to another Samhain Propworks prop making video. If you've been watching my previous video, I did a bottle last time, this bottle right here, and I wanted to go through, and before I leave this to rot and finish, wanted to make sure that you have a few more examples of stuff that you can do. So we're going to go through another bottle quickly. This time we're going to be doing a square bottle. This one does not come with a top on it. That's why I chose it specifically, because I want to show you about going and making tops for these bottles. So let's start here, grab my knife, and move straight into getting the cork built and carved. So the top of this bottle is about an inch and a quarter, because it's narrower on the inside. Actually, it's just about the width of the ruler, which will make my life easy. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go a bit wider because the cork has to be at an angle. I'm going to go mark here, and mark there without cutting my fingers. I'm going to come through. I'm going to eyeball parallel there, which is about there. This is always the worst cut when you're dealing with thick styrofoam. You know, most likely you can use whatever styrofoam you have access to, but oh, this is going to be fun. But the fact is I have this beautiful high density stuff. I was really floored when I went in the other day. I usually have styrofoam kicking around from, oh gosh, all sorts of projects. And this is one of the ones that I've got kicking around. My older brother gave it to me years ago, and I've used it to the nth degree. So see how I did that. We'll get rid of that piece. Now let's get it down to length. Let's say about, we want it to go to about, there, it looks like a good length. So just take again, eyeball it. My knife is sharp, so I can force it through. Much easier that time. Toss that away, find my marks, and now you go from mark A to mark B, then talk to mark C about the council meeting with mark D. Quickly cut those through to get them to length. This is going to be the same thing. We're looking at an inch and a quarter, but you know, we don't need it to be that wide, so we're going to have to make another cut there. So we're going to go to here. We're just going to quickly mark those again. May look like I'm about to cut my fingers off, but I'm not. I have invisible safety gloves on that stops me from burning myself, cutting myself, and making silly mistakes. So from there, we're just going to quickly do the same bit, and we're going to cut vertically just to get those so we can get the angle for the bottle. We're getting close now. There we go. I'm just going to quickly test it. That looks pretty, it fits pretty snugly, nicely. You can see we got the line there from when I jammed it in. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly take the knife and we're going to round the edges just a little bit and be a bit rough, because you don't want it to look perfectly clean. The more rough it is, the better it translates into the final product. We're going to round off the top. Okay, there we go. And boom, there's your cork, pre-painted. We're going to stick that in, see if it still fits gorgeous. It does. So now we're going to go through and paint it. Okay, I just use a standard brush for this, and just gonna grab it, do a quick paint job on it. Oh, just like that, perfect. It goes so quickly when you work hard like that. And it's dry, just make sure it's completely dry. Now we're gonna make sure, see, it still fits gorgeous, and we have it all set up in here. Now, this bottle, I wanted to do something different, which is just going to be, and this one we're going to go a little bit different. I just had to plug in the hot glue gun, which I had unplugged. I don't need it right away, but we'll need it in a bit. We're gonna go through and do the same thing we did on the previous bottle. If you have not watched that video, I'll quickly recap here. I'm going to go over some dry brushing to get this where I want it. We'll put away this knife before I cut myself. We will clean up the styrofoam so I don't get it stuck onto the back of all my labels. So the very first thing is, speaking of which, we want to do the label. So this is the file that's available on samhain.ca for free. Go grab it if you want to do these bottles. I think you have to sign up, but I went through and it was pretty quick, and you don't have to actually buy these ones. So I think I'm going to go with this cloth bottle. So I'm going to quickly go through. We're going to do the poor man's lamination. We just use packing tape over top of it, and we're going to cut it out. So let me just bring that. I'm just going to, okay, we're going to finish that off. Grab my scissors. Oh yeah, that's good. Cut it all out, and oh, there we go. Done. Crazy how quick that works. Anyways, let's clean that all off. When you do this 5 million times, things happen so quickly. There is no chance that I did not pre-make that label before I started rolling the camera today. So I'm going to quickly take this to the garbage can. So you can see I'm grabbing it by picking the spot that I want to do it on. I'm going to do it on the side of the bottle. Gonna grab my spray adhesive. I brought the garbage can right beside me this time. Oh, I just got it on my arm. Oh, that's the weirdest feeling. Makes all your hair stick together. So you don't want to muck around with this label too much. When you place it, you kind of have to be happy with where it drops, because once again, if you don't, it'll flare around the edges and it just doesn't look as good as it could. So our label is on. That is stuck almost immediately. I'm not perfectly centered. Look at that. But it's hard to see at that. That looks good enough. I'll blame it on the guy who made this bottle 100 years ago by the time we're done. So now I'm going to take some black. I'm going to take my handy dandy dry brushing plate of wonder. I did lots to start because I needed to get the brush prepped. So now we're going to quickly just smack the edges with it like I did before. And on this one, I wanted to do a little bit more at the bottom this time. So the bottom ends up with just a little bit muckier than the rest of it. And once again, you want a bit more paint on your brush for this one, because glass fights dry brushing. And if the cork is on there, it's not that big of a deal. It's going to catch some of the black, but that's all right. I'm actually going to be doing a bit of a different color this time, so prepare to watch and enjoy. So I'm going to quickly dry brush this up. And I wanted to do this all in one take this time to show that these bottles do not take forever to do. They're actually, once you get into the swing of things, they go really quickly. So I'm going to get a bit more black on the bottom there, just dab it along. I'm going to put a bit more on the top here, even though this is going to be covered. So I'm going to come down a bit more than normal. I'm going to grab this, a bit more black. Put it along the top like so. There we go. So now we've got the start of a bottle where we got the label on. We have the cork done, magically painted. I love how that works. Close that up. I'm going to quickly rinse this off. Actually, no, I'll leave my dry brush for now because I may use that black in a bit. No, because I'm going to use the silver with this same brush. So I'm going to just let that dry for a moment. I'm going to quickly, brought a cup of water with me to kind of polish this off. There we go, and just a rag to get off most of that black. It doesn't have to be all of it, just most of it. Okay, that looks like it's half dry. So what we're going to do now is the bottle. We're just going to put it off to the side. We're going to work on the cork. Now, at the dollar store for this season, they've got bags of these skulls. The plastic on these looks very plasticky. So what I did earlier is I used skewers, drove it through the bottom of the skull, and used it to paint it. This is fantastic for holding, for painting stuff. If you see cheap skewers, pick them up. They're just a really good tool. So I just painted these with a flat black paint. I had to do 2 coats because they don't take very well. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting Mr. Skull here. But I won't be able to do that yet because I don't want to dry, but actually, Yeah, we could dry brush this whole thing the same color because that would work well. It'd give the brown a nice, because what I was looking at is it this one here? I got two of these. You see, that is bronze, but this here is a very misleading color. It's copper. But when you actually open up the bottle of the copper, you can see it's like full-blown penny copper. It's beautiful. So don't follow by the look of the label sometimes. We're going to be dry brushing the whole thing in copper. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to see if my hot glue gun's up to temperature. And we're going to attempt to stick Captain Scalito. Because I painted the bottom, you're going to sometimes run into an issue where the paint will get stripped away because of the hot glue. So I'm going to put quite a bit on here. It may melt the styrofoam a bit, but at the same time, I gotta check something before, yeah, there we go. This cork has a symmetry to it that it likes to go in the bottle only one way. So we're going to do that using the same stick. Oh, look at that bubble that formed there. Using that same stick, we're just going to drag that glue around so it doesn't look like a line of glue. You know, you can end up with spider web. This is where it looks a bit slimy and all that. But you see, there we go. Just using the stick to move the glue around, get it all in place. Give that a moment to simmer off and finish. We're going to move the glue stick out of the way, or the glue gun out of the way. I'm going to check this out here. Yeah, it looks good. So we got a good start now, and we're going to move on to dry brushing. Hopefully by the time we get to the top here, that glue will be finished. We're going to grab my copper, because I want to dry brush this before I do any of the actual jute trimming on it. And jute, and I've got some, what's that stuff called? This stuff. So once again, put a bit onto your palette. This really goes a long way. I'm just going to make sure that brush is really dry, because this is a contrasting color. You know what? I'll be good, and I'll use a new brush. This one's, we want to really take this down, because this is a very, very bright color, but it looks fantastic. So we're just going to put a bit on there to see how it's going to go down. Oh, it looks good. There we go. And this color actually complements the original bottle. It's not as high contrast as the silver, but it adds a really, really cool look to it. And I love to mix up the colors that I use, because then all your bottles don't end up looking identical. They all look like they came from a different manufacturer at a different time, and it really goes a long way to adding credibility to your prop making. So I'm going to quickly hammer this dry brushing through, get a nice layer of copper on this whole thing. There we go. And you see, it is similar to the red. You know, if you use this on a green bottle, it would be even more pronounced, but I just like the way I deliberately chose these two colors. You can see right there, the black is being pulled off by dry brushing because I have not let my paint dry as much. You know, if you will notice that? No, I will notice that, and it's part of the aging at this point. So, you know, don't get bent out of shape if things like that happen. Just roll with them. Add them to the look and feel of the overall bottle, because this is not an exact art. This is just fun. Enjoy it. Half the enjoyment is screwing up. So we've got a good patina. Look at that for nice wording on this bottle. That's done. We're gonna grab Mr. Skeleton Head and see if he is dry enough for me to not burn myself. Oh, you're still pretty molten in there. But it's dry enough for what I need it for. So we're gonna grab a bit more copper, because what I had dried out. I'm gonna drop this on. This is gonna look stunning with copper. The one mistake I made on these skulls is there's a flash line from where they went through the molding process. I should have carved that off. But of course, they were all painted by the time I was like, oh, coulda, shoulda, woulda, didn't. So once again, just get a little bit of, I almost got too much on here, but I wanted this to be strong. I wanted it, that copper to really not just hit the accents. I wanted to get really deep in a lot of the crevices. So the skull ends up looking more copper than it does black. And you can see almost immediately, dry brushing, guys. is amazing. It's just such a great tool for aging things up to go from, that's okay, to, wow, that is pretty freaking cool. I use it a lot. I just actually finished a Ghostbusters pack. You can check it out on our Instagram. And there we go. So you can see the brown cork now with the copper on matches the black skull with the copper on. It looks like it's all integral to it. So we're going to take that, we're going to drop that in the top, like so. And right there, we've now got a really, really good start of this bottle. Going to get that out of the way. We're going to bring Mr. Hot Glue Gun back after I untangle the cord just a little bit. There we go. And put my lid back on my copper. I gotta remember this brand. This is the one I got from Michael's, this Artist Loft. And it's one of my favorite copper paints I've ever used. I gotta remember that one. So, we've got this. Now, I want this bottle to look a bit different than my previous bottle. So, we're going to do a base wrap on this one and a top wrap, which means I need enough thread to do both. So we're going to go with the finer jute like I did the first time around on the first bottle. Actually, no, I used this on the last bottle. I can see it right there. So we're going to take this and we're going to start this on the back, as always. That way your first joint doesn't appear, stupidly noticeable. We're going to use my tweezers just to force it down, make sure it sits in there nicely. Give that just a moment to cool so when you start pulling, you don't pull off your own work. So I'm going to take this around to the front. And since it's on glass now, the hot glue will cool very, very quickly. Trying not to block the view of the bottle, but it's hard sometimes. Okay, just going to push that down. Burn my fingers a little bit. Par for the course. Bring this around, and now on just this run, I got to do some here, because if not, the jute wants to fight me, and I'm right on that bevel of the bottle, so it won't cooperate completely. And I don't suggest you going right to the absolute bottom, because then it's going to catch on everything and there's a chance you're going to rip your finishing off. So I'm just going to wait a second there, bring this around, and now this is going to finish up our first run with a bit of hot glue. As always, be careful with hot glue at this point, because once you start getting into this whole area where you're spinning them, this is where you go from, oh, that's nice too, I burnt myself. So just keep that in mind. It's not the end of the world either way. Hot glue sucks, but they heal. That's the wrong thing you're going to hear. But everybody's going to mess up at some point. Don't feel bad. Oh, look at that. It's trying to... Just 1 second here. I'm just going to put a bit more on here because it is trying to pull up off that corner. Should just get to the point that I do the whole first line and I just glue it right around so I've got something to base it off of. So now we're going to come to here. I'm going to put a bit more glue there, and hopefully we can start wrapping this thing fast enough where the previous layer of glue, we just push down that little tiny bit. We're not looking at a lot of runs here, just a few. Well, you know what, I'm not even going to glue that. I'm going to just glue it on the back now because I've got enough runs where I can tension it without fighting it. And you can see I'm using my other finger to push up the lines as I go. I'm only going to do one more line after this and we're finished. As my jute goes flying, but that's okay. We're going to come to here. We're going to not use the scissors that are nearby. I'm just going to use a knife here. You're cutting on glass. Yes, I am cutting on glass. Okay, just going to put a tiny bit more glue there to finish that up. Use it to push in. Make it look like it's part of it rather than it's just a pile of hot glue. Just using my fingers now to kind of massage that in so it finishes it all up. That looks really good. So now we got the bottom of the bottle done. We're going to do the same thing to the top. And we can take it from there. Now, on my previous bottle, I never actually, I started this one in my first video actually. This whole bottle got cut out, but it ended up so long that I kept it out. These are cockatiel feathers. The birds yakkering in the background. One of them is our 17-year-old cockatiel. And he's always molting. So what I do is I save the feathers and I used it for the bottle because it looks cool. And you know what? Not going to say half. The fun of doing this is what you do is you're always looking for stuff that will look good on these bottles. You know, you never stop going, oh, do I need to do this? Now, I have to get up, guys, and I wanted to do this all in one take, but I probably still, so you'll hear me clunk away here. I need the scissors. I can't finish this without it. So I'm back. So, now this top, I have been debating on what I wanted to do with it. If I just wanted to do, you know, the lines of the stuff. I've even been thinking about taking this and coming up and around and crossing both of them in front of each other. So you end up with this really wild jute finish on it. And you know what? The decision has been made. Let's remove my skull so I don't wreck it. We're going to take this. And because I don't want it directly on the front, I'm going to fray this just a little bit to get that end open so when I glue it, it has something to catch onto. So we're going to start here because I really liked how that looked. And pulling it down, you can see them pulling it down into the current stuff. The better way would have been to do this one first and then the bottom one second to cover this up. But it's not that big of a deal. This one, because it's going to be doing this, I'm going to do some more glue points because I don't want that to be rolling around. Now this, you have to be very, very careful. You don't want a lot. You just want to literally go dot. Just enough to hold on to, but not enough to be seen because you're on the front of the bottle here. And if anybody's going to notice the problem with your bottles, it'll be on the fronts of them. So we're just going to bring that up and around. See, in that angle, see, I'm just testing the angle there and seeing, it looks pretty good. It looks really good. So the top, I'm going to be able to put in behind. So we're just going to snip that right there. And it's going to run away from me the moment just like that. I'm going to bring that around again. See, it's already binding really nicely on that one spot. So we're just going to bring that back up, take the hot glue. I can do a bit more here because it's going to be hidden behind the jute at the top. So we're just going to, you know, but don't be reckless with it. You still have to be careful to a point. So we're going to go like that. So we've got the first pass. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. I've got to be quick here because it's amazing how quickly these videos go from a short little, oh yeah, I'm going to talk about decorating a bottle. And like when I was editing the videos last time, I ended up at, before I edited out the second bottle, I was at 48 minutes. And I'm like, oh jeez, I can't have people sit through 48 minutes of me yammering away. So we're going to go like that. I'm going to take you around to there. Our point of cross is going to be here, which is a bit higher because when this goes on, I wonder if I can fix that at all. If I can bring that cross down just a little bit. Nah, it's not going to let me because it's, look how good that glue holds. If I come down to here and force it to there, I might get away with it. Okay, we're going to do this. This one I got to leave dry for a few moments because, sorry guys, I got to do it like this. And what's going to try to do is it's going to try bouncing back up because that is actually under tension now. It'll be less under tension when I get the second line done up and around it. So let's do this. We're not going to do that exact because I got lots of that thread. I don't mind, you know, losing a bit to the sacrificial jute gods. So here we go. I'm going to pull that tight. If it looks like this is a bit chaotic, sometimes it is because you're trying to do so many things at once. Once again, you're on the front here, so you don't want to do a ton. What did I do with my shish kebab stick? It is on the floor, of course. I'm just going to use that shish kebab stick to push that into the jute. Once it gets a little bit cool, I can use my fingers to finish it off. And we've got pretty good symmetry there now. Bring this up to here. Measure it out to where we want it. Snip. Fray the end just a little bit so the hot glue has something more to bind onto. Get that into place. Once again, you can be a bit more liberal with this here because it's going to be behind the top twine spin, or the top jute. I'm going to burn myself here, I know it. I'm being a bit reckless. Okay, there we go. So, and here, because this wanted to roll up as well, because it's the bottle, it's just the way it is. I'm going to put a bit more there, just to hold it in place. Push it down, push the jute into it, and now what it should do is it should hold. So already you can see that this is a different way. But there's an order. That's why you have to do the dry brushing first, because this comes over top of it, and it'll go from there. So now we're going to wrap the top jute. To finish this bottle off, we're going to, I was thinking about, ooh, look at that, it's close to there. I was thinking about wrapping a single line around the base of the skull. But you know what? I think that's fine. I don't, we're going to do a little bit different on here, actually. I don't have glue with me, though. We can use paint. Yes, I'll show you one more trick here. I don't have the glue nearby. And what glue did I use last time? I used the gel glue that's in my office. I'll go grab that. And I won't even cut the video because it's like 5 seconds away. So we're going to start here. Actually, should start on the back, so I'm going to use that as just a initial hold point. There was glue in the back of that. Where did I pick that up from? I just felt that uncannily familiar burn feeling. My fingers are covered in glue now, so I'm just going to quickly do this here. And on the front there, you can see where the jute, the hot glue actually pulled the paint off the bottle. Okay, we're just going to do that. See how useful this is just for pushing things in, not burning your fingers. See, it rolled through there, and you can see it pulled the paint off of the bottle just a little bit. So, and just let me bring it back up because it's pretty fixed now. Okay, just gonna. I'm doing this tight. Come on, give me that last little bit. Just gonna bring this around. Now you see that I'm not actually stopping to glue all these runs. Why? Because I don't have to. The tightness allows me to keep it all in place, like it's actually how it would have been before. Like back when they actually made bottles like this, a lot of it was just done with tension because they didn't have this wonderful heat glue. Okay. There we go. Okay, there's our bottle. All juted up, all aged, all ready to go. We'll put our stopper in the top. We'll give it a quick peek and go, does it need anything else? Yes, there's too much brown, not enough black. I should have done that cork black. And as I did, I didn't think that the copper would have been as light as it is. So we're just going to do a quick bit of black dry brushing to bring that in line with the other stuff. So I'm going to grab my dry brushing plate from over there. There we are. I'm going to bring that down. Okay. I didn't need any extra black paint. And I noticed that just here, I thought it would be nice just to bring that up just a little bit. Just give it a bit of black messiness, you know. I don't want to wreck my copper dry brushing. So what I'm doing is I'm just hitting areas where the copper wasn't. And we'll just hue it up here a tiny bit. Ooh, that was too dark. Styrofoam, so it may dry too quickly, but you see I just rubbed it off. This should be, I could have done this with a wash, which would have made it a little bit easier, but you can just use a rag and rub off the extras. And when you're done, if you do too much black, you can just dry brush some more copper onto there, which I might do right now just to bring that back up again, because I did cover a little bit too much that I wanted to. Oh, did I almost hit my black there? I did. Okay, take the cork off. Now, these videos may be a bit of repetition, but what it is the future, I'm going to be doing a couple more of these bottle videos, mainly because you will hopefully pick up some tips and tricks that is above and beyond just looking at the bottle. See how that looks. Perfect. And that finishes this bottle. I will hopefully get to the point of doing another one. Oh, no, my mistake. I am sorry, everyone. I wanted to do one more step here to finish this off. And look at that. I got black and copper all over my paintbrush now. My hands were clean. Now they're artistic. Get this down. And what we're just going to do is we're just going to quickly hit all of that jute with just a little bit of mucking up, because you don't want it to be clean. It just looks out of place. And, I'm hitting the bottle a bit, that's fine. Oh, I got paint all over my palette, and it's making everything a blinking mess. There we go. Just touch it with the black. Get it. You don't need to put a ton on. You just need to do enough where it doesn't look like it was done literally 5 minutes ago, which it was done 5 minutes ago. There we go. Just a little bit more there. I got some hot glue that is exposed there, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a bit of a extra line, just push it up underneath, and what it does is it just gives it that extra bit of shadow, because that's where the dirt will gather over the years. So if you just do that, like so, it looks like this has always been part of this bottle. And there we go. All finished. For the second time. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, please subscribe, like it, share it. I'm new to all this, and I don't have a lot. My friend gave me heck for not saying that regular spiel. You can go to samhain.ca. The link will be in the description to get these labels for free. Everything else was bought from a dollar store. This was everything here. Styrofoam, if you ever have somebody doing construction work, ask them for the leftover styrofoam, because you don't need full sheets for daft stuff like this. Now, the jute, everything from the dollar store, we're only looking, look at my hands. We're not looking at a huge cost here to do these, and if you do lots at once, the cost drops even further. So, have fun with it, and look for the next one. I'm going to be doing about another 2 more videos of different bottle styles and ideas, because sometimes it's the spark of idea that you need more than the skills to do this in the first place. You need both, but sometimes it's the ideas that help the most. Anyways, this one is, okay, I got a bit of paint there. This one is done in honor of my friend Bladed Thought, who I've known all my life, and he was watching on my stream, and he is a fantastic guy, and this is his bottle, because even though he's gonna watch us and laugh, I hope he enjoys it. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to the next one.